Welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial I will show you how to work in rows. Here are some samples that I have prepared. I'm using a 4mm hook and the samples have been worked in a DK weight yarn. Here I have worked 5 rows of single crochet, that is a double crochet in UK terms. Here I have worked 4 rows of double crochet, that's a treble in UK terms. Links to these tutorials are in the description box below. For practicing, it doesn't matter how many chains you have on your foundation chain. Let's get started. I have gone ahead and crocheted 1 row single crochet, that's a double in UK, and I've gone ahead and crocheted a row of double crochet, which is a treble in UK. Please pause and prepare your first row. Working from the end of the row, you are chaining 1 and turning your work. Now this chain does not count as a stitch, as it is your turning chain to start your next row. We are inserting our hook into that very first chain, right there. To identify that first stitch, you will see that there is a V on top, so that is where you are inserting your hook. So that first V, I do apologise for my camera, it keeps coming out of focus. Okay, so that first V you see, that is where you are inserting your hook. We are working a single crochet into that very first stitch. So insert your hook and pull through the yarn. Yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. Work a single crochet in every stitch until you reach the end of this row. For my first row I had a chain of 10 plus 1 for my turning chain, so it is important that you do remember how many chains you have worked into your foundation chain. So once you move over to row 2, you can make sure that you haven't missed any stitches. Here we are coming to the end of the row, so I'm just going to work these last few single crochets. This last stitch here is sometimes missed very easily, so you'll know it's there where you see that last V. So you just want to get your last single crochet worked into there before you chain 1 and turn your work. So now we have 2 rows of single crochets, and we are going to work our 3rd row. So you chain 1, remember that doesn't count as a stitch, that is your turning chain, and we are working a single crochet in that very first stitch. So you'll see the V on the top there, so that's where you want to insert your hook. So you are just repeating exactly what you did in the previous row. So it's a single crochet in every stitch right till the end of the row. For me, I find a chain one and turning your work and working into that very first stitch leaves me with a nice neat straight edge on either side. This is perfect for when you're working things like a baby blanket or a throw. Okay, so this is your last stitch on this row. Like I said, it's the V that you're working into. And do keep count of all your stitches because that is very important. I say this because that last stitch can be very easily missed. Okay, so let's start another row. So it's chain one and turn your work and simply single crochet in every stitch. If you have any questions at all, please do leave them in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Or if there are any other tutorials that you'd like me to cover for you, please do let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So yes, working in rows is pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You're just going back and forth, making sure that you crochet in every stitch. So as I mentioned, if you are making a baby blanket, all you would do is measure your foundation chain. I would just measure it a little bit extra as you're working in to each stitch, it does go slightly smaller. Okay, so that's the last stitch worked and that's how it should look. So because we are chaining one and turning our work and working into that very first stitch, you should find that your edges are quite nice and straight. Moving on to our double crochet row. That's a treble in UK terms. Please go ahead and prepare your first row. Okay, so insert your hook from where you left off at the end of your first row and we are chaining 3. Okay, so for this, when you turn your work, we are counting that first chain 3 as our first double crochet. So it's a partner to the one on the bottom row. So it's a double crochet in every stitch till the end of the row. Remember that is a treble crochet in UK terms. As I mentioned before, please do keep count of how many stitches you are working. Each double crochet is a partner to the one below. I like to keep checking that I have got every double crochet in its correct stitch. So it's on top of the double crochet from the previous row. So here we're approaching the end of the row and we want to make sure that we double crochet into that final chain. So to identify your final chain, you will see it is your chain 3 from your previous row. So you want to work into that top chain, the third chain, you are working a double crochet. Sometimes it is a little difficult to get your hook in, so what I do is I insert my hook, loosen up the stitch a little bit, and then I will carry on working my double crochet. It just loosens up the stitch a little bit for you, so just yarn over and then work my double crochet. into that last stitch. So again, it's chain 3 and turn your work. So that chain 3 is your first double crochet. So you go into the second stitch and work a double crochet and so on. As I crochet, I am keeping count of how many double crochets I have worked. So I'll just keep checking back that they are all in line. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on working my double crochets right to the end of the row. Here we are approaching the end of the row, and you want to work your final double crochet into the top of the chain 3 that we worked on the previous row. If again it's a little bit difficult to get your hook in, just pop your hook in to start off with, and that will help ease the stitch for you to then work your double crochet into. So recap, we are chaining 3, turning our work. That first double crochet goes into the second stitch as our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're just working all the way along the row right to the end and working a final double crochet into the third chain from the previous row. Okay, so I'll just let you work to the end of the row. I have linked a left-handed version of this tutorial along with other useful links in the description box below, along with timestamps, along with US and UK terminology. Okay, so just work your last double crochet into that final stitch, and we have completed 4 rows of double crochet. Your edges will be fairly straight, like so, and you'll see that each double crochet is on top of the double crochet from the previous row. Please subscribe to my channel, hit that bell icon, and I will see you on my next tutorial. See you then.